It's a mule hot day. My beans shirt's gonna get sweaty. Big live. Big live to you too. Best fighting style for MMA. Fashido, Hapkido, Aikido. If it ends with Ido, Ido Portal. If it ends with Ido, it's the best. Favorite submission in MMA history? There's a few. I love the Romina Sato flying armbar. That's a brilliant one. And I also love the Demetrius Johnson suplex to armbar. But to be honest, I just love anything where someone's holding onto a Kimura trap and just spiraling around someone. Rolling armbars are great. You see them a lot in pure submission wrestling, like Kali Rotolo gets them, Mikey Musumeci. But you don't really see them much in MMA. FCC was a banging night. We didn't actually see any of the pro fights. That was reverse to what is normally logical. They did the pros first, probably because of Fight Pass or whatever. Actually got Fight Pass there. Don't know what Machine MMA is just saying they have the UFC there, but whatever. The show was great. Didn't see any of the pros except for the short bald guy just absolutely chin checked someone after taking a battering. It was brilliant. Saw Curtis Campbell with a Chizoku Mawashigeri. Really good evidence that if someone is just granite jaw, he was on top of him, pinging him with elbows for minutes and minutes and minutes. A full round, 10-8, 10-8 as 10-8 could be. It would be a 10-7 if it was EA MMA. They get up, he pings some head kicks in, the guy blocks him. But then he pings in a Chizoku Mawashigeri, which is our favourite kick. Kabam. And the guy just drops like a sack of chicken pellets from B&Q. Do you eat Mackey's? Mackey's is a very go-to food after fights. You don't want solid food after fights. And I don't think McDonald's doesn't really have different flavours. It just has different textures. The chicken and the beef are the same thing. I don't care what you say. The chicken, the beef, the McFlurries, they're all the same flavour. McFlurries, all the same flavour. The only difference is the texture. Thank you for the roses. How many amateur fights did I have? About 6. 5 wins, 1 loss. Chicken palms and breaking arms. I've gotten armbars in jiu-jitsu competitions, but I'd love to hit one in a full fight. They're so hard when you get a bit slippy, especially in that Vegas heat. It's going to be slippy and this guy's little T-Rex arms. But I would love to hit an armbar. I love it. I get it in training sometimes. You're just touching the hammer fist as soon as the arm reaches out. You know where you go for the hammer fist, and as you pull the arm back, you step over and whack the armbar on. Obviously not in training, because that's a douche move and it teaches you bad technique. But Demetrius versus Wilson Hayes, brilliant. Pop, pop, pop. As soon as the arm sticks out, he's wrong. Garlic sauce, curry sauce, Manjaro sauce, all the sauce. Ooh, dream UFC matchup. Historically, it would be a George St. Pierre, but I said this the other day, is a lot of his stuff that was so advanced, like his jabbing and his foot feints, is kind of just par for the course now. So he might not be as impressive by today's standards. He might, like his size, he might not even be big by a lightweight standard. But I'm in the UK right now. I got back into the UK on Wednesday around 11 o'clock. I've been in the UK for a few days. What time will the fight be on in the UK? Probably morning times. Better wear that shirt after you win the Contender Series. I've got 2 of these shirts. This was the last time I drank. Last time I drank, I was 2 pints in, and this just pinged in my head. Beans shirt. Now. Fighting with full time to up. Yep. Fight, teach, and talk to you idiots. Favorite video games? Ooh. Doom Eternal. God Hand. Devil May Cry 3 and 5 and 1. Resident Evil 4. How can I transition from boxing to MMA? Go to MMA classes and wrestle as much as possible. Wrestle and kick things and be kicked and be submitted. Brilliant. How long do you diet for a fight? It kind of ramps in, start like 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out. It depends how much weight. This generally tends to be the thing, especially with 5-round fight counts that have been recent. I think, fuck, I'm heavy, I need to lose weight, I'm like 84 kilos. And then it just gets to a point where, shit, I've gone too light, I'm like 76 kilos, I should be that in fight week. Opinions on Jose Aldo, one of my favourite all-time fighters ever. I love that fight with Mark Hominick, even though he got like water illness or something, and he was probably just tired. because of Mark Hominick's pace. That's a beautiful fight where Joe Rogan doesn't even realise. Joe Rogan had just big bias against Jose Aldo in any fight Jose Aldo fought for his first 5 UFC fights, and I don't know why, but it was interesting. Like, you watch the replays, how little Aldo was slipping by. Boom. Weirdest place I've been recognised. It's pretty standard places I've been recognised. I've been recognised in like Whitby, Tesco, Durham. People shouting, do you do TikToks? And I guess so. What about Davy Grant? Davy Grant is a boyo. Me and my brother live about 30 minutes away from Davy Grant, up the roads, and he's in Bishop Auckland. And they've never sparred together. So weirdly enough, their first ever spar was in Vegas, which is 8,000 kilometres away from either of our homes. Favourite 3-strike combination? Ooh. See, to drill, I'll do it southpaw because it's flip. Jab, crossbody, hook, or jab, crossbody, boom, lead straight. In terms of 3-shot combos I've landed, I love the hook, uppercut, body hook. It just rolls off. I got that on Dean Truman. Masaki Noiri dropped Rukia Anpo in the K1 tournament final with that. That was very nice. Hey! Davy Grant's your dad. He's top G. He is a legend. Can't wait for July. Beans! Yeah, hello, my bro. What are you most looking forward to in Contender Series? Well, obviously chinning someone, but all that Vegas scran after. Going to the Brass Fork and having everything on the menu. Just being in Vegas, I'm in Middlesbrough, which is a bit of a small town thing, and people are great, but there's a lot of people, you do something funny out on the street, and they'll kind of point at you and find it unamusing. Oh, I've lost connection. Find it unamusing, because they'll be like, yeah, how is he happy for no reason? That makes me sad. Whereas in Vegas, people are just happy, unless they're front kicking baskets at a 7-Eleven. Got socks on now, mate? Bum, bum, bum. Favourite garden centre? I love me some Whitegates near North Allerton. You got to get a mortgage to get a coffee and a bit of cake. But I love me a bit of Whitegates. Where else is good? Strikes is alright. What's some good shin guards? I generally tend to wear Rev Gear. Rev Gear is good, but Vertex is good as well. There's Danger, I think, is a good brand, but Rev Gear is my go-to. How to block a hook? Just stay tight. You can either do the Rampage, where you kind of comb your hair. You can either just holskin it and just block in tight, or even just, it depends if it's a right hook, you can kind of stick it out and almost karate chop their arm. Boom, 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 boom. You can catch in, duck in, boom. And then Harry's next fight, he's going to be fighting July 21st, Cage Warriors, TBA. How good should my grappling be for my first ever fight? It depends how good your striking is. If you're good enough to just keep it on the feet, then it's easy. But, to be honest, why are you putting a limit on yourself? Why do you want it to be like a certain level? 5. Just get it as good as possible and you'll know. Surely you have people to grapple with. What did you work as whilst on the come up? I've done like 3 things professionally. I've washed pots, I've fought, and I've taught fighting. So right now I just kind of teach classes, spam social media things. You know the Latvian train? Very well. I know the Latvian Express almost too well. TS3 or TS5 in a fight? Tread carefully here, mate. Fucking, yeah, TS6 is comparatively nice compared to them. Most famous person I've sparred with, it's probably, in terms of highest level people I've sparred with, Arnold Allen is the most accomplished person I've sparred with because he's had like a 10-fight UFC win streak. Other people, Paddy Pimblett, Jai Herbert. Yeah. You know, Jamie Bates is a really good glory kickboxer. Yeah. Any tips on BJJ? Well, that's so vague. I could give you a vague answer, but I'll just pick one thing out the air. And my advice is to get as good at moving your own body around as possible. So, technical lifts, shrimps, all that stuff isn't just you do it just to get a little bit warm and to feel alright. You do it because if you can't do it by yourself perfectly, you're not going to be able to do it at all with someone else giving you a bit of resistance. So really get good and really dive into doing proper shrimps, good technical lifts, good hip escapes, Granby rolls, being able to control your own body. Because you take it for granted. I've seen some people who can't do a backwards roll. If you can't do a backwards roll and compress yourself like that, what chance do you have of playing guard? What chance do you have of like crunching up to get back in the feet, get back in a single leg? It doesn't really work. Are you headlining Dana White's Contender Series or on undercards? I didn't think they did undercards and main cards. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm up the bill. But who knows? Whomst knows? Might be some random American. Tips to improve stamina. So here's a little one I've been doing recently. Getting back to the 3-round fights. I'm getting a little bit more explosive again. Is instead of like your regular intervals, 15 seconds on, 15 off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, I'm doing every 8 seconds some explosive fucking repetitions or something. Like sprawl flying knee on the other side. Explosive shit. But it's every 8 seconds. So you're not really getting a massive rest, but you can keep it explosive. And it's working fucking hard. I'm doing like sprawl flying knee with a willpower band on. It's nice. Most painful fight. Painful in terms of just fatigue was the Madas Flaminas fight or the Robin Roos fight. Painful in terms of after the fight with Ben Bennett where I broke my hand and knackered my foot. But then the title fight, my face was scuffed at. Ooh. What's your take on fighters cherry-picking their opponent? I think they're a bunch of fannies. I was watching Chuck Liddell fighting Renato Babalu Sobral. I was on Fight Pass watching UFC 40 again. How before it, where he's saying, well, I'm next in line for... I can't do a Chuck Liddell voice, probably. I'm next in line for the title fight, but, you know, I'm a fight. Train better when you're fighting, when you got a fight coming up. So I wanted to stay active with this, and if Renato Babalu Sobral beats me, then he deserves a title shot, but I need to stay active. I like that stuff. Post-fight Palmer, way to go. You know, it's a good 8,000 something kilometers between me and that Manjaro's, but I'm going to be thinking about it all flight. Wow, I'm going to have that UFC contract and a thought in my brain of Manjaro's, spicy bolognese palmo, tandoori chicken palmo, maybe a classic. Depends if my mouth's scuffed up. If my mouth's scuffed up, I probably don't want that much spicy. Is your belt vacant right now? I don't know. It's on my sofa downstairs. It's not even on a sofa, it's just on a little chair. But yeah, maybe it's vacant. Defender vacate. Fighting my first Muay Thai tournament Saturday. Any advice? I'm a 6-0 kickboxer, only 16. So Muay Thai tournament, obviously the Muay Thai scoring is different. Prioritize those knees and kicks. Kick the back. Whenever he turns, kick the back or knee the back because they're big scores. I don't know if you're in shin pads or no shin pads, but that's obviously something massive to consider. It's not bombing in your kicks because you might be fighting 1 or 2 more times that night. Don't bomb your kicks in, especially that first, second round. Touch them, find the target. Get a lot of clinch. If you're a good clinch fighter, get a lot of clinch because that'll save a lot of big impacts. Or it should. You might still knee someone in the elbow. Must know everyone in Borough at some point. There's probably some I'm glad I don't know, to be honest. What age did I start training? I was just about to turn 13 when I started training Muay Thai. I was just about to turn 16 when I started training MMA. How does Olives do in a rematch against Islam? I'm not sure, to be honest. Well, here's the thing a lot of people don't understand about fighting. So people go now, Khabib would have easily smashed Ferguson. And the evidence possibly suggests that. But they were booked to fight each other 5 different times. 5 different points in time over so many different years. That fight would have been completely different every time they fought because it's just a different time and exchanges play out different in fights. So I don't think Makhachev would just sleep him or submit him or do anything easy like that. He could still get chinned. And Olives is probably the hungrier one right now. If going into hungriness talks is big in your mental factor. When are you going to bust out some God hand moves in real life? What's the move? Fucking... Ding! Head slicer. La Bomba. pimp hand. Pimp hand's a good one. You got to get that air whip and the snap. There's some that combos that I'm sure are Masato on that. Any advice on how it's hard to fight against someone smaller than used to? Yeah, so fighting, it's not some guaranteed easiness. Oh, I'm longer, I'm taller, it's going to be easier. It's if you can fight on the back foot, you can still be first on the back foot. That's something that's really underrated. People think go on the back foot and I have to wait, but then people can set up their work. You can always just hit those pokes like a good Adesanya type fight. And obviously, just changing your weapons. Have good knees. Don't try to kick too close in. Don't try to hook too close in. Change your weapons according to the range. Hit straight kicks. Because it's harder for someone to step in on a straight kick than it is to step in on a round kick. How do I dig into my body shots? Just keep the back foot on the floor and don't try too hard. Well, try this one. Get in this position. You can hold your backhand out and you can kind of squat, squat, squat. And then you can just pull, rape this practice hook to the head, hook to the body. Focus on that back heel. Have you ever been punched in your fight? No one's ever punched me, ever. I give them the inception to not throw punches. Worst pain I ever felt? I had a cut on my knuckle once, and I squeezed some lemon on a fish. And then the lemon got in the cut, and it was horrendous. I've done the same with vinegar before. Thoughts on Lona Kavanagh? Brilliant fighter. Incredible discipline with his stance. Really fast shots, really athletic. Looking forward to as he gets more comfortable in his career and the combos start to flow up a bit more. I'm a Norman B guy, if you're asking what part of Borough I'm from. Best hands in UFC right now, I like Jack Della Maddalena. Jason Bourne, yes. Thoughts on Jack Shaw? Yeah, he's really good. You know, it's interesting to see which division he sticks around in. I haven't seen his fight with Amir Khani, but he must have. I think he just gassed him out, and because Amir Khani is the most kill or be killed fighter in the history of history, and he battered him. Hardest fighter I've sparred: Ed Miliband, easily. Beans versus peas. Beans. I'm gonna go beans. Beans are more versatile. You got butter beans, baked beans, black beans, possibly a bit more nutritious. Divine Greek or Manjaros, Palmo? Manjaros. Because you got to get that tandoori chicken, you got that sizzle sauce. For none of these palmies, I don't appreciate anyone calling it a palmy with a Y or an I. It's a palmo. It's not a parmesan. Thoughts on Petr Yan? I think Petr Yan could come back really well. I don't know. People have this bizarre mentality in MMA where if people take a couple of losses, you know, like two of them were split decisions, and Merab just kind of owned him, but it wasn't complete destruction. Petr Yan can come back, and I love loads of Petr Yan's style. I love his staying tight. I love him adopting different guards. I love his different stance switches. And obviously, the slap hook to body kick. What's the most annoying part of camp? Organising stuff that's not necessarily related to the fight. Well, it is related to the fight, but medicals and travel. How long did it take you to finish Bloodborne? First time, 15 to 20 hours. If I do a run now, it'd probably be about 8. Who would you like to fight throughout time, dead or alive? Well, I don't play Dead or Alive much. That's a fighting game for very weird people. But if you're talking about actual people who died, I'm trying to think of people around my weight. Because you can think of Leonidas, or all these old warriors, Leonidas, whoever, but they're probably like midgets by today's standards. They probably didn't have all the food and they were probably midgets. When should you have your first fight? It's different for everyone. Well, you know, there's some people who train 2 years and really, really struggle to get anything. But there's some people who train 2 months and are brilliant already and are fight ready or have come from a different sport. Just when your coach says you're ready. Simple as. Now, if it's kebab shops, that's a different deal. Because if you're asking when you have your fight in a kebab shop, probably 1 in the morning. What card am I fighting on? The card on August 15th, Tuesday. What a weird day to fight. What do I normally do on Tuesday? Jiu-jitsu and strength and conditioning. Have you ever sent someone to a hospital? Weirdly enough, we've probably all sent some old person to a hospital, not even realising and wiping our hand on something and passing some germs, and an old guy's went to the hospital because they've gotten badly sick of it. In fights, well, I'm guessing Liassi probably needed some stitches. He had a big cut. Favourite head kick setup? I like any straight punch into head kick. I like 1-2 into head kick. Boom. I like a full question mark where you don't just like lift the knee up and then bring it over. Actually miss the kick. Miss. Boom. Come over. Or you just throw a load of beans on the crotch. My dog! Have you had a street fight? I had a fight with one guy in school, and then 2 years later he turned out to be gay. That's all my fights outside of sport. If you weren't a fighter, what sport would you pick? I probably wouldn't pick a sport. I would pick, I don't know, dance or washing pots. I'd be a dancing pot washer and just stream it all day to deplorables. How many years of Taekwondo training do you have? I have neither Taekwondo training or Taekwondo training. But I used to stick like balls on the ceiling made out of like sticky tape, hang them down from the ceiling, and then just do spinning kicks. Would you ever come up to Scotland? I've been to Scotland before. I've trained with Chris Duncan, the problem. Dancing pot washers sounds like they don't mix well at the same time. Yeah, but any time you're washing pots in a commercial kitchen, Smooth FM's probably on. So that's a good time to dance. Worst injury I've suffered? At the moment, it was a dislocated elbow, but I also broke my hand, and that just took ages. I couldn't punch anything for ages, couldn't roll for ages. Only exercise I did was Zercher squats, and then I kicked the bag, did some running, did push-ups on the other arm because the contralateral training effect is a real thing. If you injure one arm, still train the other. You, my friend, what fight do you think you perform best in? I don't know, because every fight is a specific thing, and you can't. One performance doesn't really transpose to the next, and they all expose different things. I liked even though I got pinged a lot in the Driscoll fight, how as pinged as I was for a lot of it, I had no kind of resentment or hesitation, or didn't take any mental blocks from it. I just lubed up, ploughed on. In terms of as a complete performance, I took very little damage in the Liassi fight or the Dean Truman fight. They were pretty good. Bungard was annoying. Because even though I negated his big shots, the jab and the calf kick still got through. Is judo a good martial art? Yeah, it's a brilliant martial art, but it takes so much adapting for MMA. Because the takedowns, you have overhooks, and even if you finish the takedowns, even if you land on top, they land with an underhook. Think of, what was that old guy fight? Fedor versus Frank Mir a few years ago. Fedor absolutely tosses him from that overhook, whatever you call him. He tries to mount him, but Frank Mir just has an underhook and balls up. Where's your favourite Parmo from? Manjaro's. I like the tandoori chicken from Manjaro's at the minute, or the spicy bolognese from Manjaro's at the minute. Sorry, my throat is knackered, and I hope I don't have hay fever because I've been taking the piss out of Harry on it. What's your opinion on point scoring karate? I think it's old school stuff where they were like bare knuckled and it was Tatsuya Naka from Kuro Obi, brilliant. And I love that old Shotokan stuff, or some of the not Kyokushin, who's he called? Lyoto Machida clips. I love the old stuff. But as any sport happens, it goes on, more rules are added, it gets stupider, and it's literally people just trying to flick each other's ear and scream, "Yeah! Kiai! Kiai! Kiai!" and run around like headless chickens. It's a bit daft. I think there's absolutely loads of point scoring karate training drills that are brilliant though. Yes, back in the gym. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Favourite holiday location and dream holiday location? I just want to go back to Vegas. To be honest, I want to go to Vegas, get more time to scrap and scurry about. What's your favourite flavour of crisp? I'm a prawn cocktail wanker. But then again, I don't consume that many crisps. Or any kind of pizza flavour crisp. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to have to get ready and go to the gym. You're all appreciated around here. It's not a bench shirt, it's a beans shirt. Kebab shop fight record. My kebab shop fight record is 915 and all. Bless.